Welcome back inside this week's edition of Trailblazer Weekly, live on CEC TV and SouthernUtahLive.com. The women's soccer season has come to an end, and here to help us take a look back on the season and break it all down is head coach Kacey Bingham. Okay, Coach, thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you.
It's always good to have our coaches on the show and to get to know you a little bit better. And in this case, we're going to break down the season. Another solid season for your team, and another 11-win season, your second consecutive 11-win season. You've had a few days to digest it all now, to bring it all around and to think about where your team ended up this season. So when you think back on that, what are your overall general thoughts on how the season finished for you guys?
I think we had a really great team this year, and I think when looking back on the entirety of the season, I think if we could have figured a few key things out earlier in the season, I think it could have maybe changed some of the outcomes of what we had. But I think we had a team that was good enough to have competed for a PacWest championship. So I think that's good. But I think we just need to make sure that at the beginning of the season we're at a higher starting point than I think we were this year.
A little bit of a cliche question. Maybe that's not a great way to start off a question. But what was something that maybe surprised you a little bit about this year's team?
This year's team, I mean, I at the beginning, we always hope that our freshmen can come and help us, and I think at the beginning, we weren't sure how many of them were going to be able to step in and help right away, and then there's a few new players that really shined and surprised us. And Darian has had 2 great seasons up until this year, but never quite dominated like she did this year. So, she was definitely a great surprise for the team as far as that she was willing to take on that role of being a goal scorer for us this year.
Obviously, the goal each year, year in and year out, is to win that conference championship. Didn't quite get there, like you said, just maybe some things go differently in a game here and a game there, then you're there and getting ready to play a game this weekend somewhere. But still an incredible season from your team. What were some of the positives that you were able to take from this year's 11-win season?
This year we really felt that our defense was much better, more composed, all around just a lot more solid than any years past. So I mean, we're really happy with our defensive efforts. And we're excited to have majority of those girls returning to us. So I think that for us is one of our strong points. And I think to have a player so dominant in the attack as Darian was this year was huge for our team and our morale.
At one point earlier in the year, like I said, it was early. The team was 2-5. You just lost at Point Loma. You win the next match, 1-0 versus Holy Names, and then boom, you rattle off 7 straight wins to really help turn the season around. What was the difference during that 7-game stretch versus the first 7 games of the season when you were sitting at 2-5?
And the Point Loma game was hard because we were up 1-0 at halftime, and what we were struggling with at the beginning of the season was shooting and scoring opportunities. So after the Point Loma game, we came home from that trip and we changed our formation. We had to make a change so we could be more dangerous, and it was effective, and we were able to get things going on the attacking end is what we needed.
Of course, soccer is a team sport, and you can't get the wins without the whole team effort. But as you mentioned, you had a lot of players step up, even some young ones that maybe surprised you a little bit. It was some great play from the goalkeeper position, even a freshman in Cami Hunter, team high 4 assists. There was a couple players with 4 assists, but Cami Hunter seemed to kind of shine in that area. You mentioned Darian McCloy, the goal scoring. Just talk about some of those players that just stepped up for you this year.
Yeah, we had a solid group, and I think what was most important is how could we be dangerous against good, fast teams, because this conference is big, it's fast, and so it needed to be more than individual efforts. It had to be efforts that were composed. Cami in particular is someone who's a very composed player for how young she is, very mature. Another one who did a great job for us in assisting was Capri Goldsmith, who was a freshman this year, and just her energy level when she came in was so effective. And then we can't forget Megan Marchbanks playing our attacking midfielder this year, and what she brings to our team is so huge, and her getting on the scoreboard, her defensive efforts were game changing for us.
it seemed like throughout the season, obviously Darian's 12 goals will jump off the page at anybody, but it seemed like, you know, there were games from now and again where teams were really keying in on her, and then you had, you know, other girls, whether it's you know, an Alexis Torres or Erica Gonzalez, you know, with the 35-yard blast, you know, into the net, key goals at key times. You had players like that step up when other teams were focusing on your main goal scorer in Darian.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Cal Baptist, you know, we ended up putting Erica up at our target and moving Darian a little bit. So I think, and we were pleasantly surprised at the work Erica gave us and the first goal that put us back in 10 seconds afterwards. And some players, when we needed them to be clutch players for us, took on that role and did it so well.
How sweet was it to turn around and, you know, you just had kind of your own conference title, hopes dashed on Thursday, and then you get to turn right around and kind of spread the wealth a little bit against even a conference rival in Cal Baptist. It's always great to finish the win with the season, but that had to be the cherry on top just a little bit.
Yeah, and we talked about, what do we want out of this last game? Is this just a game we go out and have some fun, maybe play some good soccer, or is it a game we're going to come and show what we worked for this year, and that no matter who we play or what time of the season, like, we were going to come to compete the way we always have? And the team said, we're going to come out to battle. And that's what they did, because Cal Baptist is, you know, undoubtedly one of the best teams in the conference, a very strong team that we had to have a great performance to get that result.
The team gets 3 all PacWest honors. Probably could have deserved a few more, actually, but obviously the main one, Darian McCloy, as your PacWest Player of the Year. You had Megan in Montana, second team honors. How big is that for your program to be recognized for the success that you've had? Yeah,
it's huge. I mean, we've never had a PacWest Player of the Year, so to have Darian come in and do it, it's well deserved. And you never know if, you know, we've had leading goal scorers before, but haven't been, you know, noticed or awarded that. So I think that was huge for our program. It's huge for Darian as a junior to come and do that. And you know, rewarding someone like Megan, who's just a hard worker, and especially a defender, because it's so hard for those defenders to get recognized. And I couldn't agree more with Montana receiving that award, because she's been one of our best defenders since she was a freshman.
Of course, Darian just a junior, so you've got her for one more year, and I'm sure that as a coach, you're thinking ahead to next year already, and thinking, okay, we can, you know, bring a few more players in. We've got a good solid core of freshmen, and we'll build this thing around Darian again next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the plan. We have some amazing talent coming in, even mid-year, and we've been primarily targeting, recruiting, attacking players, and we're going to return a very solid defensive group. So we're excited and already ready to go.
Speaking of that, what does the schedule look like now? Obviously, you got some time off. The season just ended, but when you stop and think about it, really, it's hard to believe that the spring season really isn't that far off. So what's the schedule look like for you? When can you kind of pick up maybe team workouts again and getting ready for that spring season? Yeah,
they take a pretty good break right now, so they'll be off for a few months here, and then they'll get going the beginning of January, and then our 45-day scrimmage portion of the spring season will start with the BYU indoor tournament, which will start at the end of February. So we'll get going from there and hopefully get 10 to 11 games in this spring.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate you stopping by and just breaking down the season. We were all just certainly proud of how your team did, and again, like you, we were hoping maybe for a couple more of those wins, but really back-to-back 11-win seasons, it can only go up from here. So we appreciate you stopping by. Before we let you go, we've got our Trailblazer Weekly hard hat that we have all of our coaches and all of our guests sign. So we'll hand you the hard hat and the Sharpie. Just pick a spot there and sign that thing, and then mark that, you know, women's soccer right by it as well, so we can remember all of our guests that we have here on the show. It's time for our last timeout. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead at the next week in Trailblazer athletics, as well as hear from women's soccer goalkeeper Angie Ciucci in our player profile feature. There's more Trailblazer Weekly after this.